Welcome to my channel. I'm Crystal, the Crystalline Priestess, intuitive evolutionary astrologer and psychic tarot reader. And today we have a fun little new moon eclipse reading coming in for you for October 3rd, 2024. We do have a new moon eclipse in Libra, so without further ado, my loves, let's just jump straight into the energy. Okay, my love, so we do have another fun little screen recording to jump into because I do definitely think that these actually make it a bit easier to understand for sure. So let's take a look at this eclipse. We have the sun at 10 degrees of Libra, we have the moon at 10 degrees of Libra, we have the south node at 6 degrees, but we also have Lilith at 10 degrees of Libra, and we have Mercury, who's at 10 degrees of Libra as well. So this is a big fat Libra stellium. This is what we call it in astrology when you have more than or 3 planets or more in a sign. That is what we call a stellium. So this is a big fat Libra eclipse stellium. I think that a lot of us have been feeling this energy building. It's been a very intense eclipse season. All eclipse seasons are intense, but this one is coming with an extra little bit of pizzazz because we have this 29-degree Pluto in Capricorn, which I have spoken to an awful lot on my channel over the past few weeks. So if you've been tuning in, you would know that we really are on the cusp of this entire letting go season of our lives. So I've done something a little bit fun for this reading, and I've actually made some AI generated images, my own little things, to give us a little bit of like an idea of a visual representation or a visual idea of this energy over this moon. I thought it was a super cute idea. I love it, love the fact that the Leo King does this. That's where I got the idea from. Absolutely not my idea at all. I've seen him do this in his horoscopes, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And so he has a much better AI program. Mine is just Canva AI. So, you know, this is basic AF. But I thought it was cute and I thought it was fun, and my inner child was kind of loving it. So we do have a little bit of imagery just to present us with this idea of what this eclipse is actually going to sort of entail. And the reason I've done this to be a little bit of this walking away from something vibe, and it's very positive. You see, you know, we got all this pink energy, there's a rainbow up there, there's beautiful luscious fields. That's because this is a really ripe time. This is an abundant time. It feels a soul abundance is what this moon feels like to me. And it feels like soul abundance is coming from finally allowing ourselves to walk away from toxic things, from the things that haven't been serving us this whole time, but it's been a process. You know, we spoke to in that Pisces lunar eclipse the fact that we've been dealing with this Pluto Capricorn and dealing with these really powerful mutable Saturn cycles, which means that in 2008 we had Saturn Virgo, in 2015 we had Saturn Sag, and then now in 2024 we have Saturn Pisces. So this Saturn Pisces, this whole connection that we have at the moment between these outer planets and this letting go through Pluto and this Saturnian growth that we're going through, it's really a ripe time to connect with spirit, and this spiritual connection is where the abundance is coming from at the moment. And Libra energy to me with the south node, even though Lilith is there, it's feeling very much like touched by an angel. It's very much this otherworldly, this very beautiful energy, in my opinion, that is coming through, even though we have Lilith there, because Lilith is a bit of a toxic energy, and not so much that she's toxic, but she brings a darkness. She brings a facing of the darkness and a non-conformity and an obsessive energy and a rebellious energy. So there's almost this soul rebellion that I feel that we're bringing in for us all individually at the moment, and that soul rebellion comes to ask us, are we going to be victims to our reality, or are we going to be the creators of our own experience? Not in the sense that we create every circumstance, you know, life's, we can't create everything, but our reactions to that is everything. And so the reason why I made this image, and this is not how I wanted it to look, like this was basic AF, I really actually wanted this lady to look like a witch, and it to be like, you know, Snow White sort of vibe. And she's like handing her the apple through the thing, but that didn't really work, so this was the best I could kind of get. And I wanted it to sort of symbolize this Libra connection with Lilith that we have. But in this eclipse, let's get the eclipse chart up at the same time. try not to cut everything off. But I really wanted to sort of speak to this connection that we have with Lilith for this eclipse, because it's almost like I wanted to portray, are we going to eat the poison apple, or are we going to put that apple the fuck down? Like, she's about to take a bite. Is she going to do it? In the mirror reflection, she doesn't have the apple in her hand. So it's almost feeling like we have physical vices, we have physical things. There are literal physical habits, people, circumstances, environments, career paths that we've been following, things that we've been doing, ideals that we've had, things that we've been doing that are like biting onto a poison apple. It's like eating, I just said like eating shit. Like, I don't know, it's like literally just Snow White kind of thing. And it feels as though this eclipse, this season that we're in, is that moment to decide, I'm no longer going to partake in the apple. I'm no longer going to bite into the apple. You know, this mirror reflection, and they look, well, you know, they look a little bit crazy when you get up close. But, you know, it's about looking into the mirror and saying, I can choose differently. I think that I am ready to choose differently. I am ready to embrace this new way of being. And see, the Libra is all about the aesthetic. And I think something that's really been coming up for me personally, and I'm sorry about this bird. Oh my God, this bird, I can't shut him up. Like, what am I going to do? He's a native bird. I can't stop him. This is like giving me this energy of like, we can't stop life. You can't stop circumstances from happening. You can't stop hard things from happening. Libra, with this Lilith and this culmination of this eclipse, to me, feels as though it's this reckoning moment where we realize that we can't control the circumstances. We can't control everything that's happening in our lives. We don't have control of what everything is going to look like. And I think for a lot of us, we've been trying to portray this version of ourselves, you know, this perfect version, but this perfect version has been biting into something toxic. And I feel as though we're ready to let go of this toxicity. We're ready to look into the mirror and see a different version of us. It's looking at ourselves differently. And I think that this Mercury Lilith connection with the moon, and you know, we've just had a Kazemi literally like the days before this eclipse. So we have had these moments of awareness. We've had these really beautiful moments of opportunity come in for us to wake us up into realizing, where are you fucking yourself up? Where have you been trying to fit into a box or an image? We have the Ace of Swords coming out. So it's about letting a new thought absolutely take root in your psyche, deep within your soul. There is a new thought, a new way of being, a new perception that is coming through over this moon. You know, this is all, we're in an air sign over here. We have this square to Mars that we're going through. We also have Mars who's, you know, well, he's in a square to the North Node as well, but he's almost 10 degrees away from the North Node and the South Node. So there is a very wide square to the nodes. But we do have to keep in mind that he's reasonably close to that Mercury, and he's reasonably close to Lilith and the Sun. So we are having to really deal with these emotional wormholes. I'm feeling like it's like this mirror is making me just look. It's kind of like I'm seeing it, you know, that Simpsons episode where they're sort of stuck in that like Matrix world. It's like the real world thing. They go from being the cartoon in the real world. I feel as though this moon is like this wake up call, because it is our last eclipse, literally our last eclipse with Pluto in mother effing Capricorn. So this is our last moment to actually physically meet reality where it's at, and to look in the mirror and see what this really does look like, what this really is. We have the King of Pentacles coming out. And I like this because it's about building a solid foundation. It's about sticking to a stability. This Pluto Capricorn transit has already had you building something. You have already built a level of comfort. You've already built a level of stability. You've already built a level of self-worth and of loyalty to a certain path. This isn't about ditching the path. This is about deciding that you're going to take a healthier route in the way you're already moving along that path. You know what I mean? Like this image of the apple and the way that she's just this version of her is not holding it, but this version of her is. She looks like she's about to bite into it again. It's like, look, and then I pick up the Eight of Cups. It's about understanding that it might be healthier at this point in time to walk the F away. Walk away from all this toxic stuff, because that's what the Sun Lilith is. And, you know, I said before that Lilith can be toxicity. Yeah, but it can be this, like, this really, really, really bad. And I don't want to say bad, but, like, Lilith can be when we make really bad mistakes because we don't realize the repercussions, or we don't realize just how intense or how it makes us essentially go morally we don't care. So I feel as though this is a moon to test your morals. This is a moon, we have judgment coming up, the Eight of Cups. This is about the judgment. This is about that judgment call that you are ready to make and that you've been ready to make for a long time. There are parts of ourselves that we are ready to walk away from. And it's not so much that it's actually parts of ourselves. It is habits. It is addictions. It is ways of being. With Libra, it's groups, it's aesthetics, it's people, it's, you know, ideas, it's arguments, it's debates, it's all these things that we just don't need to hold on to anymore, that we can let them go. This Judgment card is about releasing a part of your spirit, letting yourself free, setting yourself free. And that's the thing. I feel like once you can put down this poison apple, she's got nothing holding her back. She can finally set herself free. And that's where these other images come in. You know, we have this one, which I thought was super cute. This is essentially, it's walking a new path. It's letting go. It's seeing that there are still dark clouds around us. Not everything is perfect. You know, this Eight of Cups, it's not like everything is hunky-dory and she's really stoked and happy to leave. It's still got a dark energy to this card, but she's walking towards the light. She's walking towards what is going to fulfill her further. So this is about walking towards what is going to actually fulfill you. This butterfly is the transformation. Your inner child has the gift. Your inner child has everything for you. Your inner child is the path to healing. You know, my inner child had so much fun with these, and it's like, I can see where AI is definitely probably going to be a problem for artists, because this ain't too bad. I couldn't have painted this in 2 seconds. So it's really, I suppose, us needing to get silly, not so much silly, but I think this is a message that I've had a lot lately. There's this seriousness that we've all really been in throughout the past few weeks and past 3 months. That Mercury retrograde that we had in Virgo was really a really hard, tough time. So the time that we're in at the moment, you know, we're needing to understand that with Mars being in this really beautiful trine over here to Saturn, while we have this moon and while Venus is moving into a really nice grand trine between the both of them, we have to understand where this loyalty to our own path, this loyalty to our devotion, I suppose, to a better way of living, and our devotion to a happier life and a healthier life, and our devotion to this transformation journey, our devotion to our maturation. You know, Saturn is about age, it's about aging, it's about growing up, it's about getting older. Mars is a very youthful energy. Mars is, and so, you know, Venus kind of is as well. So it's about understanding that as we grow old, if you lose your youthfulness, if you lose that youthful radiance, and I don't mean how you look, I mean how you feel. That youthfulness is about how you feel. It's about the way you're looking at life. Youthfulness is a feeling. You know, it doesn't matter how you are, how old you are. What matters is how you are looking at life. And this eclipse is about looking at life from a higher perspective. It's about looking at life now, like this Ace of Swords and the Five of Wands in reverse. It's not looking at competition anymore. This is about deciding what you want your life to look like. I wanted this to portray someone who's decided, this is me, this is my life, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. It has a little bit of an Alice in Wonderland vibe, doesn't it? It's a little bit like, you know, this feeling of, I'm ready to take the risk. She has nothing with her. She's leaving it all behind. There's no baggage. This end of the Pluto Capricorn transit is a letting go of the baggage of these past 16 years. Of this feeling of I need to achieve this, I need to have this achievement in order to be worthwhile and something. Does she look like she's giving a fuck about achievement right now? Or does she look like she's giving a fuck about spirit, her spiritual connection, her life, being out in nature, being happy? We have the Two of Cups underneath these cards. So it's about finding a balance and a harmony, and we have rainbows out here as well. So it's about light. The light will win. I feel like a lot of us have gotten so caught up in the heaviness and the darkness of what's been going on in the world for so long that we've lost touch with our light. And that's why I wanted to make these images sort of overly ridiculously positive, because it felt like we need a little bit of that energy. We need a bit of that positivity. You know, we need, with the sun in the south node and the moon in the south node, the moon and the south nodes are not too bad, because that's kind of like they're connected. But when the sun is there, there is this obsession with going into the past. There's this obsession with the way things were. This obsession with needing, and especially when it's in Libra, this people pleasing, this over giving, over stimulation when it comes to everybody else, and getting your value from other people, getting your value from what your achievements look like to other people and how other people are perceiving you. It's all about the other, and that's why Lilith being there with Mercury is about you having to have the cognizant, the actual, you know, brain power moment to realize, I don't need any of this shit. I don't need any of it. Like, literally, I don't need any of it. It's giving me, I don't know his story fully, but like I'm thinking of Shia LaBeouf and like how he was amazing and he had all these amazing movies and was doing all this sick shit, and then he was just like, oh my god, I'm sick of this stuff. And then he kind of just has gone off the radar and disappeared and is probably going and living in like a normal life. That's where we have to, you know, you can achieve all these things, but those achievements, while they will bring you to a sense of accomplishment and happiness, yes, there is a level where it stops being healthy. Like everything. You can take anything and everything too far. And I spoke to this in Astro Tea Weekly and all these readings recently. I've spoken to the fact that too much of anything can be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be that you're always, you know, that's having too many drinks is always the worst thing. Like, you could literally have too many cats. Like, you know, you could love cats and cats could be amazing, but then by the time you start getting to 6, 7, 8 cats, you start to have a really gross house, and that's starting to get really bad for your health and the cat's health. You know what I mean? So it's like a good thing, there can be too much of a good thing, is basically what I'm trying to say. And so this eclipse is about letting go of having too much of a good thing. This Eight of Cups, we have to clear up our judgment. We have to have long-term judgment. Long-term understanding of the action that we need to take with that grand trine with Mars, Saturn and Venus. A long-term understanding of how to actually physically manifest. You know, the planet that helps us manifest the most is Mars. And Mars being in a trine with Saturn, to me, is an opportunity to physically manifest. Because Saturn is physical reality and Mars is the drive that makes the spark of, you know, life happen, because it makes you actually take that action to make something happen in reality. And Venus is that attraction energy. So at the moment we have this really strong, this is that eclipse, you know, it's a new moon. So obviously it's a time to be planting new seeds. We're planting new seeds after the last new moon eclipse that we had, which was on April 8th. So we are closing out this cycle since April 8th. And that April 8th eclipse, let's move this over here. Sorry, guys. Yep. No, I thought that was going to make it bigger. I don't know if I can. Anyway, can I click into this? Hello? Oh, yes I can. Okay, so this April 8th eclipse that we had, this was the last new moon eclipse that we had. It was this year. It was with Chiron, 19 degrees, the sun, the north node. Mercury was there again. See how Mercury's back? We had Venus in Aries. That was a big fat Aries stellium. So now we've got this big fat Libra stellium. We're kind of in the opposite end of that. So now it's time to plant these seeds. We've dealt with these confidence issues. We've been dealing with these issues where we don't feel good enough, where we feel we're judging ourselves. And that's what this Eight of Cups and this Judgment is about. We're letting go now of the judgments that we've really had them and seen them come up over this last 6-month period. It's really been obvious, I think, to a lot of us, and especially, you know, with Chiron there, and with Jupiter and Algol being in a conjunction when we had that eclipse, it is about this King of Pentacles and understanding resources and our sense of self-worth and our values. These things really are important. We had Venus that was in Aries at the time, you know, and so the dispositor of that moon was Mars, and he was in Pisces conjunct Saturn. And so now, you know, we look at our lovely little moon that we're having now, and Mars is in a he's in Cancer, but he's in a beautiful, almost exact trine with Saturn. So we've come a long way since that time. We've come a long way in realizing the work that has to be done, the effort that has to be done, the effort that goes into transforming ourselves physically. That Chiron connection was really a moment for us to spend this next 6 months really delving through some of these identity shadows that we've had and that we've been holding on to for a long time. At the time, Lilith was in a trine over with Pluto. So now it feels like Lilith is making herself known again over this full moon with this conjunction with the sun. So we are having to face these shadows. That's what this shadow stuff is. We're having to face the parts of ourselves that kind of want to, I'm seeing like rebellion for the sake of rebellion. I'm seeing like, you know, when people sort of just take things too far, like things are fun and it's like everything's all good, and then, you know, when someone just does something and it's like, yeah, that wasn't necessary, man. Like that's kind of the energy, I think, of this Lilith, where it's like that little bit too much coming through. And so this feels like the fact that we had that Jupiter, like I was saying, and Uranus conjunction that was building at that time, we had that money stuff coming up then. And so with Venus in Scorpio and this grand trine, we're still dealing with the money stuff. We have Jupiter who is in that sextile to Chiron during this eclipse. So Chiron was really, really big part of April's eclipse. Chiron's also, you know, going through some interesting stuff during this eclipse. So it's interesting how there's sort of all these little connections. I like the fact that Mars was where Saturn was and that Mars was conjunct Saturn. It feels as though our desires have come a long way since April. I feel like we've actually probably grown in our desires. I think that a lot of us as well have been really seeing where our home lives, our family lives, our personal life, like our actual life outside of what we're trying to achieve, is extremely important, and that's actually where we're needing to build our power in order to have a level of achievement, because there's no point having achievement in your life if you don't have anyone to share it with. It's bringing me to one of my favorite lines in a Dirty Head song. I can't remember the song that it is. I'll see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll link it below as a bonus song. But he says, please take a seat at the table when my friends eat when I win. Something like that. He's like, my friends all eat when I win. And I love that line, because I'm like, yes, that's the way it should be. When I win, my friends eat too. You know, everyone eats when I win, because that's this energy, this Libra energy. And when it's in its healthy balance, it's, I'm here to help. I'm here to, you know, connect with other people. I'm here to, you know, all my friends eat when I win. But when Libra energy is out of back, when it's in that shadow, and with Lilith being here, we do have to be facing these shadows. That is when we're projecting other people's shit onto ourselves, or maybe we're projecting shit onto other people. Maybe we are out of balance in our own relationships. Maybe we're needing to look at where we effed up in the past. Maybe we're looking in the past with the South Node connection and we're going, holy crap, I can see now where I have gotten myself to this point now and where I need to make a change. This is a moon of having to accept what we've done, the choices we've made, the writing sort of, I'm hearing like the writing's on the wall, like you can see it now. There's no taking it away, like it's literally plastered on the wall. You cannot unsee it. So we have the boar archetype coming out, combativeness and honor. So that's dealing with this Aries and Libra opposition. And I think this being the next new moon, so the closing out of that cycle. We also, I do want to say too, in March 2025, we have the solar eclipse in Aries, which is a new moon as well. So, you know, there's a lot of Aries, Libra new moons that we're sort of still moving through. We had the full moon that was in Libra at the start of this year as well, that was in March. So our last eclipse season, that eclipse that happened was at 5 degrees of Libra, which is actually extremely close to right now where the south node is. So we are dealing with stuff from back then. A lot of stuff from the start of the year is coming up now. We're having to see where we've made progress or maybe where we haven't made progress, all these sorts of things. And especially we're looking at a lot of progress when it comes to ourselves. We're looking at progress when it comes to our relationships. I feel like I'm going to use myself as an example actually. Throughout the start of the year for me and my partner were actually having a lot of fights and having a lot of arguments and a lot of difficulty with the project that we're currently doing, which is cleaning out my grandma's house. And it was getting a little bit rough and a bit difficult. And now by this eclipse now that we're having, we actually don't have those fights anymore. We are not fighting about cleaning up. We're not fighting about household things anymore. You know, during this first eclipse, like I said, we had Saturn and Mars together. And so now that we have this eclipse where Saturn's and Mars are actually in a really nice trine, I'm seeing where we're no longer fighting about the household duties. We're no longer fighting about getting things done and all that sort of stuff. We have a flow now. He understands what needs to be done. We just have this flow. It's not an argument. It's not even really a conversation because we both know what the deal is, you know? So this is us seeing where we've made the effort, and that effort has brought us further than where we could have thought. And I like this honor because I feel as though that's what this is. This is a sowing the seeds of honor because we're ready now to understand that we have grown to a level of self-awareness that now is allowing us to have healthier relationships, because relationships are one of the most important aspects of life. We can't deny that. This eclipse, I've talked about it a lot, is under this cardinal cross energy, and while it's not happening aspect wise, we have the Sun, Moon, South Node, Lilith and Mercury all in Libra, which is cardinal. We have Mars, who is in Cancer, squaring that, which is cardinal. And then we have the North Node and Chiron, which is in Aries, and Mars will square with that eventually, cardinal. And then we also have Pluto here at 29 degrees of Capricorn, cardinal. So we're dealing with, like I said in my past readings, we are dealing with this pressure to be transforming our careers, our personal lives and our family homes. Our family lives as well as our homes, our living situations, our relationships, our close personal relationships, meaning marriage partners and business partners and co-worker relationships and just basically people close to us, as well as ourselves, creating a healthier, happier, more authentic connection with our physical bodies and getting out and feeling more physically alive and awake and aware and a part of society and life. This is a huge moment. I'm loving doing these readings because I love talking about how big this time is, because it really, like, this boar is giving me honor. This is a time to understand that you should be honoring your past, honor the past 16 years because they've gotten you to right now. If we actually have a look at some of these past eclipses that we've had in Libra, we had a full moon total solar eclipse that happened in 2014 on October 8th, and you can see this was a really, really strong one. And we actually had Jupiter right around where Mars is now. We have Mars around where the Sun is now. We have Pluto, who's at 13 degrees of Capricorn then, so you can see he was really only getting halfway through that transit at that time. So we were only halfway through this, and he was in an opposition to Jupiter. So at that time we didn't know that what we were in for. We didn't know what we were setting ourselves up for. We didn't know that we were going to be experiencing this huge shift in where we were going, and this huge shift in who we were going to become. And for some of us, I think we were probably going to, you know, with Mars in Libra and having Venus with Neptune in Pisces and Chiron, I think a lot of us at that time made decisions to go towards achieving some level of something that didn't in the end fully fulfill us. And I think that this is now that moment of regaining this fulfillment, refinding that fulfillment, you know, becoming who we were meant, you know. And during this eclipse we had Mercury there as well, but you know, he wasn't in a really in a tight orb at that time. So really it was the sun, it was the south node in Aries, and we had the moon over here in Libra back in 2014, and there was this massive this massive T-square between Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, Mercury. Holy hell, that was massive. So that was a really transformational time for us. That would have really been pushing us towards making a lot of extreme changes. I think that for a lot of us, we were really in this portal of awakening to these whole new ways of being, and you know, there was a bit of delusion in that, with Venus being with Neptune, and Venus being the dispositor of that moon, Venus being sandwiched in between Neptune and Chiron. So there was a wound that we were starting to face then that we didn't know we were facing. And I think that we can see it now. I think if we look back at this time, we look back at around the end of 2014, we can see, holy crap, that was one of the most transformational times of my life. And I can see where there was a lot of difficulty. I can see where there was a lot of transformation. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of lack of confidence. There was a lot of things that were beautiful. And that's the thing with Venus being here with Chiron and Neptune, there was a lot of beautiful things that came from this period of time, but there's a lot of things that we're still dealing with now and we're still unraveling. So it's a big deal. Also back in 2006, this was before Pluto had even entered Capricorn, but we had a new moon in Aries with the North Node. So this moon to me, I don't even really actually remember why. why I got it up, but I think I just sort of wanted to have a look at what happened just before Pluto moved into Capricorn, because this was right at the end. We had Mars, who was in an opposition with Pluto in Sagittarius at 26 degrees, whereas that's actually squaring essentially where Neptune is right now. We have Neptune who's in Aquarius back then. So, you know, but the thing is too, we still have this very strong Libra Aries connection. So we've been dealing with this nodal axis. We've been dipping our toes in and out of experiences with our identity since this time. And so it feels like now we do, oh sorry, I probably should have moved that over that whole time. Bloody hell. Sorry guys. But this really does feel like the culmination point of a whole heap of experiences that really have led us into, like I said, being able to be in honor and proud of where we've come. You know, this King of Pentacles means that we've reached a level of solidity within ourselves, within our environments, within our lives. You know, we're probably the most solid and stable in our lives than we've ever been. And even though the world is looking chaotic, even though things are looking really crazy and there's uncertainty, you know, and there's all this weird stuff going on, that doesn't mean that we don't have this strength that we've cultivated within us. And that's what this Sun South Node, all this stuff is about, having this strength cultivated and understood within us about how important it is to have this connection with yourself. You have to know yourself. Knowing thyself is literally everything. And that's one of the core things in astrology. Astrology helps us to know thyself. It helps you to understand yourself. This astrology tells us that we have demons and we have things that we need to deal with, conversations that we need to have, you know, lots of things that need to come up over this full moon to wake us up and remind us of how strong we are and how beautiful our lives can be if we are committed to the process of making it happen. We have the bear archetype, protection and faith. You know, and this is giving me mama bear energy. You know, you don't fuck with a mama bear no matter what. She will protect her cubs no matter what, and she has full faith in her ability to do that. So protect your dream, because your dream is important. And that's what I feel like this whole stellium over here in Libra is about. It's about understanding that with this opposition over to the North Node and with Chiron, you know, it's about understanding that we might be wounded from the things that people said when we were kids. We might be wounded from the past relationship that we had that made us feel inadequate. We might feel wounded from our parents in the way they didn't give us enough cuddles, in the way that they didn't give us the support that we actually really needed when it came to our dreams, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But it's about taking that power into your hands and being your own mother bear now, you know. Mars in this grand trine with Venus and with Saturn, it's about understanding where you need to be your primary caregiver. No one is going to take care of you as an adult. You have to take care of yourself. You have to be your own mama bear. And you know, mama bear has to be prepared to fight to the death. You have to be prepared to actually fight for your dream. And not in a way that's like, you know, slashing and hurting other people, but fighting for it against your own shit, against yourself, against the voice that wants to tell you that you can't have that dream. It is time to walk away from that stuff. It's time to look up. You know, that's why I put this picture. She's looking up towards spirit, because this is where the answer comes from. Transformation, nature. Nature is going to give you so many opportunities to experience connection with God, because that is where nature is God, you know? Everything is God in my opinion, obviously, because I believe that nothing exists outside of the realm of God. But nature is the highest vibration. If you have not noticed, every time you go out into nature and you allow your nervous system to calm down, you feel amazing. That's because you are allowing your nervous system to calm down. Nature brings that calmness in. It brings balance. It brings harmony. It brings joy. What is Libra but balance? It is the scales. So it is about having a balance and understanding that your faith is protection. It's protection against failure and all these external things and all these voices and all these words and ideas that tell us that we are nothing without an achievement. Understand that you do have, look, honor. The boar is out here. It wouldn't be out here if you didn't have something to already be honored by. Be proud of how far you've come. This combativeness. Be proud of the powers that you've had to fight against. You know, you've had to literally overcome some of the darkest times in your life, especially over the past 4 years. So don't look at yourself as being a failure because you haven't achieved some big success and this name that you thought that you wanted, or this recognition. That recognition is still coming from an unhealed place within you. That's Libra energy. Libra wants recognition, with Lilith and the sun being there, Lilith being there with the sun and Mercury. They want to receive recognition because they want, you know, I want other people to be talking about how amazing I am. Well, why can't you talk about how amazing you are? Why does it have to come from somebody else to be of value? This is about understanding our values. What is the ruler of Libra but Venus? Venus is in Scorpio. It's in a beautiful grand trine here with Saturn and with Mars, and it's not exact, but it is building. So it's only going to be getting stronger after this eclipse happens. So we have to understand that our deepest value in life is the thing that is going to bring you happiness and harmony in this life. You are not going to reach joy and peace and love in this life if you cannot honor the fact that you have to face some uncomfortable shit, which means that you have to do some stuff that's uncomfortable. You have to do some work that is uncomfortable. You don't just get to strolling through the field and loving life if you know, aren't willing to get yourself the F out of bed and to go drive yourself to that field and to go put yourself there and to go be in nature. You know, if you're too lazy to even get out of bed to go put yourself there, how are you expecting to receive anything like this, you know? This is that moment where you can really receive a beautiful blessing from God. I feel like we are all having to see the beauty in our own lives, to see the beauty in our own blessings, to see the beauty in ourselves, to walk away from what doesn't feel beautiful anymore, to walk into something that feels more natural. This is feeling very natural. We're needing to let go. That's the thing as well. We've been spoon-fed this diet, Hollywood diet of aesthetics and ideals and ways of being that are the cool, the trending, the hip thing, when the reality has well and truly been shown at this point, especially with what's going on with the Diddy stuff. Like, it's literally like, can we just actually look at this for the truth of what it is and realize that we've been spoon-fed complete and utter lies. It has been an aesthetic crap heap, you know? People portraying themselves as one thing when the reality is that they are something completely different. So this is us letting go of that part of ourselves that wants to portray ourselves as something different. Venus and Scorpio wants to take off the mask, purify what's underneath, and then transform and come back out as something even more beautiful and more vibrant than it was before with that mask on. It wants to burn that mask to the mother effing ground, you know? It wants to destroy that. And with Saturn being there, it wants to do it physically. It wants to make it a physical reality that is truly going to move us forward, you know, going to move the needle forward, going to move us into something that is going to be healthier than we've ever known, because we've been sticking and clinging to these addictions. We've been clinging to things, clinging to ways of being, clinging to judgments as well. That's the thing with all this, Libra. Clinging to judgments about ourselves or about people or about how we need to be. It feels as though we're being morally questioned, I think, over this moon. We have the detective and the exorcist archetype coming out. The detective says, light attributes, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. Very much, that's what this Libra needs. It needs the truth. And we're having a lot of truth coming out at the moment with this Pluto and Capricorn and all these outer planets being right on the cusp and making these really lovely connections to each other. We are experiencing some of the most transformative moments of our lifetime, and you guys can feel it as much as I'm saying it. I know that you guys know it and can see it in your own lives. So we're continuing to seek out the truth. We are continuing to see what is real and what is fake, because this eclipse is showing us where there's been a hell of a lot of fake everywhere, you know, and we're done with the fake. We want reality, because we can't keep dealing with a society that is based on lies. You know, we have to face the truth, and that's why Neptune being at 29 degrees of Pisces, you know, it's about facing the fact that we are being literally spoon-fed complete and utter chaos from people in power who want to be perceived a certain way. That's what Libra does, wants to be perceived in a certain way, even if it doesn't actually live that way. The shadow attributes of the detective is voyeurism and falsifying information. That's very much what this shadow attribute of this Libra is. Falsifying the way things look, falsifying the way things are, pretending that something's better than it's not, all that sort of stuff. It's time to let that go. We're looking for integrity, we're looking for honesty, we're looking for truth. Then we have the exorcist. Light attribute says freeing yourself and others from destructive impulses. The shadow attribute is a fear of facing your own demons. So, you know, that's the thing. That movie, The Exorcist, I've never even watched any of that. The only Exorcist I've watched is the start of Scary Movie 2. I think it was Scary Movie 2. But, like, literally, that stuff is terrifying. It is terrifying to face that stuff. It's terrifying to face the ugly parts of life. It's terrifying to be a detective. You know, sometimes you got to be a detective to realize that there even is a demon that you need to purge. And I'm not meaning physically, I'm meaning like metaphorically. There is something that needs to go. There's something that we need to exercise. The demon has to be released, and that's that Lilith with the sun. Lilith, and also with having Uranus down here on the demon star Algol. That's not letting our demons overcome us and overwhelm us anymore, take us down these rabbit holes that make us think that we need to show up in ways that really are counterintuitive and counterproductive. That's why the detective is here. You need to get truthful. Desire to seek out the truth for who you are and what you want. The desire to make something real. The desire to get truly enamored with your own truth, you know, enamored with what your life can, will, and is going to look like, with you making these really, really strong decisions for yourself and feeling really balanced and connected to the parts of you that you've kind of brushed under the rug. That's done now. The end of this Pluto Capricorn is saying we have to deal with the physical skeletons in the closet. Capricorn is the skeleton, so we have to deal with these skeletons. Then we have the prostitute archetype coming out. The light attribute accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating your power of spirit. The shadow attribute places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. And that is 100% what we've been seeing that's been happening in Hollywood. These people don't have any self-respect. All they care about is financial gain. So we're seeing where this sort of energy has resulted in people at this point coming out and being absolutely ripped through the mud, because we're seeing where your normal average people, you know, we're freaking sane, you know. So we're looking at these people and going, that's disgusting, that's really effed up, and what have I been doing putting you on a pedestal this whole time? So it's really about understanding that we have been placing power and money over our true self-empowerment. places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. So, you know, that's why it's the prostitute, because it's talking about, you know, someone who is literally selling their physical body because they don't see them as having any other skill to present in order to receive money and abundance and help, you know. So that's kind of, and I'm not saying there's right or wrong with that. That's just what it is. And so it's about understanding what morality looks and feels like to you in your life. How do you want to receive money? A lot of us are dealing with these money things because it's the end of Pluto Capricorn, and Pluto Capricorn's going to leave the same way it came in, which is with a recession. So we are all facing these parts of ourselves, and a lot of us are maybe facing the part of ourselves that didn't want to deal with it. We wanted maybe someone else to come in and help us, someone else to come in and save the day, but now we have to face it. We have to make our own money. We have to have our shit together, you know, all that sort of stuff. Then we have the tiger archetype out here, which says willpower and passion. So it is about having this willpower and this passion to follow in your own, I'm hearing like follow in your own footsteps, like literally creating your own blueprint, creating your own path forward. It's about you. And that's the thing, Libra, the sun, that's why the sun is in fall in Libra, because the sun struggles in Libra, because the sun is supposed to be focusing on the soul. And so when the soul is in Libra, it's focusing on everyone else outside of it. And so that's why there needs to be this balance when we have like a sun in Libra eclipse. We have to understand that there needs to be this balance that comes between our relationships, our community and the people around us, as well as where we're going, what we're doing, who we are trying to be, because these things are symbiotic. We have to show up to the people, you know, to life and to the people around us with the identity that we've already cultivated within. And it's usually through our relationships and our connections with other people that we're able to see our identity actually shine. Okay, so let's read the Sabien symbol of this eclipse. Now we're going to read 11 degrees of Libra because it's actually so close, but we do have the moon and sun at 10 degrees and 3 minutes and 2 minutes, so that means that we move the degree up when we're reading the symbols. So a professor peering over his glasses, specialization, theme, scholarship. This symbol speaks to the excellence, pride, and self-confidence required of any individual who seeks to establish and maintain a position of authority for himself. The image of a professor peering over his glasses dramatizes the process of education. The implication here is that men tend to sharpen and refine their skills and knowledge in those areas that promise the greatest rewards, or that gain them the highest respect, esteem, and admiration of their fellows. Wow. This is literally all about that. That's what everyone is really freaking out about right now. Everyone wants admiration from their fellows. The emphasis here is on the ability to stimulate learning and on the transfer of information and techniques to the next generation. Positive, at its highest, this symbol represents mastership in some unique field or a special gift for teaching. Negative, intellectual intimidation or a simple delight in making others feel incompetent or inferior. Today, the accent is on skill and knowledge. Expert advice may be sought to answer some perplexing question. Opportunity, your greatest advantage lies in sticking with what you like and are good at. Let others handle the rest. Risk, guard against the temptation to give advice on matters in which you have little experience or knowledge. Try not to be a know-it-all or give the impression that you have all the answers. Don't make others feel small by belittling their lack of knowledge or criticizing them in front of others. Stepping stones, knowledge, wisdom, specialization, skill, proficiency, know-how, expertise, self-refinement, mastery, instruction, and responsibility. I like that. It really is about mastery, self-instruction, responsibility, taking personal responsibility. Responsibility for how you're showing up. This is I like that that was intellectual. I like that it's all about intelligence and smarts and using your noggin, you know, and Mercury being there as well with Lilith. We have to understand that we really can get lost when we let ourselves you know, go down negative rabbit holes when it comes to other people's ideas of us. Yes, it is healthy to, you know, take in what your peers might have in respect to your work, or, you know, having that healthy respect for other people's opinions, of course. But there has to be a fine line, there has to be a health with it. We have the Chariot and the Hermit coming out, and the Queen of Pentacles underneath that. Wow. With the Queen of Cups, oh my god, and the fucking Ten of Pentacles underneath that. So this is an insanely positive energy, because this is an insanely positive ooh, girl can't speak, having a little burp back here. But this is an insanely positive opportunity, and it's an opportunity for you to take action. Take action on what you think balance truly looks and feels like in your life. It's about taking the risk that is asking for you to finally offer yourself a reward, and that reward looks like you finally doing the thing that makes you feel the happiest. And it's not about, like I said, ditching everything and dropping your responsibilities. It's about owning your responsibilities, and your responsibilities actually being a catalyst for joy at the moment. And that's what this grand trine with Saturn is over this moon. It's about understanding that these planets here, Venus and Mars here with Saturn, we got all of there's so many personal planets that are activated in really powerful aspects at the moment. So we're going through some really strong moments personally that are calling us into having emotional awareness, having emotional stability, having a desire for something bigger than we've ever known before, and deeper. Not even just bigger, but deeper. We're starting to see where, okay, I do actually want this healthy, loving family, and it's not just about having all this money, and it's not just about having the fancy cars and the fancy watches and wallets and stuff, you know? It's not about that stuff. It's about what I actually feel like is going to fulfill me, and that's making an impact in my career, and that's making an impact in my community and in my family and in my life. And I need to feel as though, not that I'm in control of my life, but that I'm in control of my reactions to my life, and that I'm in control of a sense of structure for my life. It's about understanding that, you know, this Queen of Pentacles knows what it takes to remain abundant. She knows what it takes, the work. The Hermit is about that inner work that it takes to go in the ride of the Chariot, you know, to go in the direction of your path. We have major arcanas out here, we have queens out here, and then we have a Ten of Pentacles, which is about finding the ultimate success and abundance in honoring your inner world, in honoring the voice of spirit. Like, I'm seeing, like, her eyes are literally closed. In this picture, she's literally meditating. In this picture, her eyes are closed. This has got the family, and this card is about literally going on the adventure. So it's about going on the adventure of life, and life is actually the adventure. I'm hearing the song Adventure of Me by Rob Ricardo, so that's going to be a little bonus song down there. But, you know, it's experiencing you as the adventure. Your life is the adventure. It's not about external stuff. It's about you and the internal things. We've spoken about this a lot throughout this whole reading. So let's quickly read this channeled message I have, and then we're going to close this reading out, my loves. Actually, good call. Of the first line of this says, hydrate your cells. Okay. Hydrate your cells with the divine holy remembrance of who you are. Let the walls crumble, let it all fall down, let the past guide you into an embodied future of your own design. Become the architect of your life, and that is what I was thinking, an embodied future of your own design. How are you going to design this new future? What do you want it to look like? Just trying to get that across there. Okay. Become the architect of your life while understanding divine flow, understanding divine order. Everything that happens is meant to happen. There is a true divine orchestration at work in every moment. There is true love in this world. That's the thing too, we haven't really spoken about it much, but relationships and love, this is a new moon to plant these seeds on how you want to be loved. And that's why I kind of started with this mirror, because she's looking at herself. Self-love. Love starts first with the self. And that's why a sun in Libra is difficult, because like I said, the sun is focusing on other people more than it's focusing on the self, and the sun is happiest in Aries because it's wholeheartedly focused on its own awesomeness, you know. So this is about seeing your potential and how beautiful you truly are. Libra is about beauty, and it's about loving relationships, and having that loving relationship has to start with you and your internal world first. You can't have beautiful, healthy relationships if you don't have a beautiful, healthy relationship with yourself, you know. It just doesn't work. You know, you can think that you do, but you take a look around and look at the relationships and the people around you, and then you'll understand whether you have a healthy relationship with yourself or not. There are more good people out there than there are bad. They want us to get caught up in the darkness, to focus all of our attention on the bad. And whilst awareness is the key, we must be aware of both the light and the shadow sides of this reality. We have a chance to turn the page on our own toxicity, to turn the page on society's toxicity and how we interact with it personally. Redesign your personal life, redesign your personal life, how to hold it all. You have a higher capacity now than you've ever had before to be able to handle the weight and responsibility that comes with reaching far and for reaching and achieving the life that you truly want. So this is about not being afraid of the responsibility that it's going to take for you to actually reach for what it is that you want. Life was never meant to come without its challenges. Ugliness is a part of life just as much as beauty, which is the connection with Lilith. You know, Venus, beauty, blah, 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 but Venus is in Scorpio, which can be scary, ugly, facing the darkness, facing the shadows. How could you truly admire the beauty of something if you had nothing to actually compare it to? So, you know, without darkness, there isn't beauty. Without light, there is no dark. We cannot understand what it feels like to feel free if we haven't felt the opposite of that. So that's why this picture as well, you know, these rainbow colors, they're not all beautiful and blues and pinks and greens and these vibrant colors. They are a little bit dark because we have to understand that even when things are beautiful, there's darkness. Beauty and darkness come side by side. Beauty and ugliness are symbiotic. There's an ugliness to, no, there's a beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. That's a line of a song. I can't remember what it's called, but beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. I can't speak. Your life matters. You have been blind to your own shadows and now you see them. Do not run. Face them with love and acceptance. Harmony is balanced on truth. So it's time to accept these shadows. Look into the mirror, see where you've been biting into your own poisoned apple, and where you've been poisoning your very own self, and where it's time now to let that go. It's time to let go and let God and become this version of yourself that is ready and willing and open to look at what Spirit has in store for you and to be open to what Spirit is willing to gift you. And also, you know, educate yourself. I like that the Sabien symbol is really talking about education, because it is about educating your mind, expanding your mind, letting yourself realize that you are brilliant and that you are smart and that you are intelligent. We have all of these planets that are building into a really nice trine over here with Jupiter, even though Jupiter is about to go retrograde. So Jupiter going retrograde in Gemini, we need to understand where education is really important, and the best thing you can do is continue learning and continue studying and continue growing. Take yourself on this journey of self-empowerment through growing and learning through life. It doesn't always have to look like sitting in a schoolroom. It can look like getting out in nature and allowing nature to teach you, you know, going camping and that sort of stuff, being like, that shit's healthy as listen to me, I can't speak. That shit's healthy as fuck. Okay, so getting outside and allowing those energies to motivate you is the word I'm hearing. So we have the Two of Wands as our final card. It is time to allow new energy to come in, to start planning for a new future. The new chapter is here. We are coming to a close. The end is nigh. You know, we are ready to look up and look out and look into something brand new. See how this card has a similar color scheme to the picture that we have on the screen? You know, it's about having to look up and look to God, because God has the answer. And when I say God, I don't mean religiously, I mean spirit, I mean whatever you want to call it. but the divine, you know, looking to the universe, because the universe has your back. And the universe is having a conversation with you in all moments, so it's time for you to listen, because when you start conversing with spirit, that's how you're going to understand how to start moving forward, because that willpower, you have it, the passion is there, everything is there. It's just we need to be allowing ourselves to be guided by angels and decided by choice a little bit more. So crazy. Let's leave this reading there. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please do let me know in the comments what you thought of this style of reading, what you thought about these little images, and if they were fun, what you want to see in the future, any suggestions that you have for astro education and just basic daily content and stuff like that. I'd love to hear your feedback and anything that you have to suggest and offer. If you would like to book yourself a private tarot or astrology reading with me, you can do that down below through my link tree. If you would like to donate to the channel, that is so greatly appreciated. I really adore you. It is extremely helpful as well. Make sure you check out your channeled songs for the eclipse. Make sure you check out Astro Tea Weekly and the daily horoscopes as well for a little bit of extra guidance. I would like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments, for allowing me to receive and to deliver this magical message for you guys. I really appreciate you guys for being here. Please, if you enjoyed this, do give this video a thumbs up, because it really does help to spread these videos to more people who are also into astrology, and it really helps to encourage my channel. So I love you guys so much. Thanks again for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. Peace.